America's Mayor Live. And we're in New York, back from Phoenix, Arizona on the red eye last night, which was quite an experience. And Phoenix was an experience. There I went to put down a $10,000 bond on now the Biden Democrat administration's the second attempt to put me in jail for life for a crime that I can't figure out since they haven't even given me an indictment yet. I assume they will at some point tell me what I'm charged with. They have told me in the newspapers, but they've never actually given me something I used to remember when I was a prosecutor called an indictment. I think I'm being charged with representing my client in a way that they're not happy with. The Democrat regime in Arizona, headed by a new attorney general elected by the grand margin of 275 votes, with about 7,500 missing or something. She has brought this charge. Somebody tells me it's a cut and paste of the Georgia charge, but I can't really comment on it. I don't know. All I can tell you is I didn't commit a crime, nothing like a crime, and this is outrageous. The whole thing is outrageous. I mean, you go there and you feel like you're in a surreal situation. What the hell's wrong with them? I don't know. Well, Hunter Biden got convicted of the most minor thing he could be convicted of. He's been let off the hook for the enormously serious crimes that he committed in what is a real display of treasonous behavior. Because a lot of the stuff that wasn't investigated and charged has to do with our national security. They kind of picked out the stuff that didn't connect with the criminal in charge, the demented criminal human being in the White House. They had to work hard to find things that weren't directly connected to him because almost everything in that hard drive goes right to Joe as the top guy. They had to leave out deliberately texts that, I don't know, you just got to be crooked to leave them out. No way I tried that case and have left out, I've left out the following text that you should all take a look at, read, see, and know. Shall we put it up, Ted? This actually tells you why he is not a benign, sweet little, poor little Hunter who's been a drug addict forever. He wouldn't hurt anybody. It's a victimless crime. Hunter is just a victimless crime. He wouldn't victimize anybody. Except maybe the people that are on the street when he's driving around smoking crack, about which there are probably 10 photographs, none of which were put in evidence by the crooked prosecutors. No, they convicted him, but there's something wrong with these guys. Can we make that larger, Ted, so that I can... It's upside down? Okay, well...
There we go. Now what do you say?
That was in the famous 1981, toward the end of it, right around the time we're talking about. No reason why it wasn't put in evidence, except for the fact that it's terribly incriminating, including about the guy that Weiss is protecting with his life, because he fixed the case for him originally. Somebody today wrote that Weiss is a crooked weasel, and it's true. I mean, he would have let him out of the case completely if it wasn't for the whistleblowers. So
this one's from Hunter to Joe.
This is from Hunter Biden to Joe Biden, the guy they tried to leave out of the trial, which is the reason why they didn't play this. Now, any prosecutor that didn't try to get this into evidence should be fired. This is like devastating testimony, which would have overcome without any doubt any of this. Oh, let's cry for the poor little drug addict because he doesn't victimize anyone. You see right here, he pretty much points out she told my therapist that I was sexually inappropriate with his niece, by the way. That's the name there is the name of his niece. And her daughter. She told my therapist that I was sexually inappropriate with niece. When she says that I FaceTime naked with her, which he does and did, 14, by the way. And the reason I can't have her out to see me is because I'll walk around naked, smoking crack, talking tom girls on FaceTime. This is all true, all borne out by numerous photographs in his computer. None of which, by the way, if they didn't want the jury to see it, they could have stipulated to the fact that this is all corroborated by the computer. Now, you'd want them to do that because there's no way you would know this if it wasn't true. When she was pressed, she said that niece never said anything like that. Well, that's kind of strange because all that happened. And you have visual evidence of it all throughout the shockingly perverted hard drive. But the bottom line is, and this the jury has to know, right? This is the victimless crime drug addict, except he created and caused a very unsafe environment for the kids. So we have victims, don't we? The kids. And you don't want the jury to know that? Or are you trying to protect Biden? Come on, I have to answer that for you. I got to answer for you that even when they do the right thing, they're crooked because they don't really do the right thing. Because they're trying to save this decrepit traitor on the White House. How ridiculous is that? How ridiculous is that text? And the American people don't know this about their president. I mean, it's almost as interesting, if not more interesting, than the one in which Hunter explains when they say there's no evidence that Joe ever got any money. He explains that he gave half his income to Joe for 30 years. You want to know where the money went? Ask Hunter. He will tell you. The ploy here was to play him as, and of course, you got to realize that a lot of these lawyers with reputations, it's a lot of bullshit. Abbey Lowell is a political fixer, not a lawyer. And he kind of proved that in the way he tried this case. One question too many, 3 or 4 times. Only dummies do that. This defense of having the family sit up front to intimidate the jury, well, they had the whole freaking crime family there. And stepmother in chief taking notes, like she's going to try to hurt them like she hurts Navy Biden. I mean, this is like you could hear the witch music from The Wizard of Oz every time she came into the courtroom. And then she sat there. I'm going to get you, juror. I'm going to get you, juror. I'm going to get you, juror. And then we had the one that takes showers a lot. I've forgotten her name. The one with the diary in the showers and stuff like that. And a couple of them drug addicts like Hunter. Possibly they're victimless drug addicts, unlike Hunter, who's got 2 big sets of victims: his nieces and nephews, who he admitted to, and then, of course, the one that's easily proven from the hard drive, which is the ones that would be victims or potential victims when he was behind the wheel of that car with a smoke pipe like this, and you see the go up in the air. I mean, this is not one of these drug addicts where you say, oh, poor guy, poor thing, he just hurts himself. And how many years? 30 years getting thrown out of the military over it. And these people are going to let him off the hook because they're sympathetic to a drug addict. I thought these were gun control freaks. I mean, if there's anything a gun control freak would say is a criminal, a drunk, a mentally disturbed person, and a person that's out of it on alcohol should not be carrying around a firearm, much less driving a deadly thing such as an automobile. Now, if you don't want to say that, I don't know what you're talking about gun control for at all. So Dodo in chief goes to a gun control convention today. And his son just made a mockery of the gun control laws. And he made a mockery of it because that charge has been out there for 4 years. He could have been tried for that 4 years ago, as well as all the other things they had the statute of limitations on, like the millions and millions and millions of dollars in bribes that he should have gone to jail for and paid taxes on, but particularly gone to jail for. He sold out the United States in Ukraine. He sold out the United States in China. He sold out the United States in Moscow. He sold out the United States in Romania, Kazakhstan. This is it. This is it. He can get a suspended sentence for carrying around a firearm. And they say, oh, only 11 days, only because his girlfriend turned it in. And he got angry at her when she did, and abusive toward her. Oh, by the way, the strategy worked well, geniuses. Stepmother in chief really charmed that jury. Oh, yeah. They were really charmed. That's why they came back so quickly with a verdict. I mean, stepmother in chief couldn't even get him to think about the case. Jesus, I don't know. I think Edith Hamilton from Wizard of Oz could have done a better job than that. Did she come in on a bicycle with the music in the background? And then she blew a lot of your money, you know. And for all of you people who are green crazy, you know, those people who go like that, the eyes go crazy over climate change and stuff like that. She went back and forth twice. She couldn't make up her mind whether to stay here and help the son-in-law she doesn't get along with, or stepson she doesn't get along with, who writes the most vicious things about her, and or go to the party. And since Joe maybe not be going to many parties lately, she did both, which did terrible. You don't put out that much CO2 in a year. I mean, she's CO2 the Atlantic to death. What a horrible person. I mean, she's gonna end the world. Al Gore is not talking to her.
A lot of emissions went out this.
Al Gore's not even talking to her. And who's that girl's name? That crazy girl in Sweden?
Oh, Greta Thunberg.
Oh, Greta Thunberg.
Thunberg, yeah.
Greta Thunder.
Thunberg.
Yeah, I mean, this might actually make her prediction come true. She's got the world ending about 3 times so far. And Gore once, but stepmother in chief made a big contribution to that with that Air Force One going back and forth, and back and forth an extra time. Come on. And you didn't do them any good, sweetheart. I mean, it didn't go anywhere for you. They took one look at you and said, Jesus, this guy probably better off in jail. No wonder he's a drug addict. Right? And no wonder the other guy is stealing money. You probably make him steal the money. I just have great affection for her because of the way she treats her step granddaughter, Navy Joan. Yeah. Really very big-hearted woman. Yeah.
Still hasn't acknowledged her.
No, they've actually never met her. Joe, who's really a nice guy, he has never met his granddaughter. Nice guy, my backside. Really, really cruel man. Sick man. Now he's going around Israel's back, or going to try to either negotiate himself for the American hostages who he has ignored now for over 6 months, and doesn't even know the names of them. But he thought he saw one in the audience, and the person's all the way over in Gaza. Yeah, he said he saw. I think it was Hirsch Goldberg Pollen. He said, "Oh, Hirsch Goldberg Pollen is here with us today." Oh, I'm sorry, he's a hostage in Gaza. The others, by the way, let me give you their name because you never hear them. The liberal media doesn't mention them because it could be harmful to our president, who's a traitor, and so they don't mention it. Eden Alexander, Sagui Dekel Chen, Hirsch Goldberg Pollen, Omer Nutra, and Keith Siegel. That was the easiest one to pronounce, but I couldn't see it. Keith Siegel. There also are 2 others who were killed during the attack who are Israeli American, Itay Chen, and 3 others, Judy Weinstein and Gad Hagay. Don't know if we have their bodies left. Joe has done so far, had paid no attention to this, that we know of. But now he's going to negotiate, but not include Israel in the negotiations. As far as I know, it's the first time he'll be negotiating for the Americans. It would seem to me he could just tell Qatar the way Trump would, or or Reagan or any man, or even strong woman, right? Just say, give them back. Just look at them. Say, give them back. But what's going to happen if I don't? You don't want to find out. You like being an ally, jackass? I don't know. You can become an enemy real quick. And that's by not turning the Americans over. You got power over the Palestinian American haters. You get my Americans back. Or Qatar? You ain't gonna be flying to the U.S., pal. You can take that Emirates airline and shove it up you. Look, I like Qatar. I work for Qatar. But wouldn't matter one bit. Wouldn't matter one bit. I would work day and night, wouldn't go to sleep until I got those hostages back. And Qatar wouldn't be the rich country it is today had they screwed me for 6 months and kept my Americans. You don't get to keep the Americans, you miserable terrorist bums. You get your hands off them. And then I'd help Bibi do the same thing. And if it didn't work any other way, I'd do it the way brave and bold people do it, like the Israelis did it. Good job, Israel. Good job. Look at them grabbing Noah. Noah has now been returned to her family. She was taken on October 7 by the animals that our American students support, the hostages and terrorists that our American students support against America, because of the influence of Marxism, because of the influence of the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party won't stand up against it, because the president won't stand up against it. This is the day they took them. They got them back, of course, the other day with a raid in which they hit the home that Noah was in, and then the home in which the 3 men were in. They killed the civilian who was holding the men prisoners. The civilian happens to be a spokesman for Hamas. I mean, the lies about what they do to Israel, the lying is about the same as it is on Trump. So the three men have been returned, and Noah's been returned, and Noah's dad is so happy. Of course, he had to go through. Noah's family is so happy, rather, because they had to go through watching all of this. And as the Israelis pointed out, there was a very thin line here between success and failure, because there was a big in-the-street battle that took place right behind the 2 homes. The way it was done was they hit the home Noah was in, she was singularly in one home. The men were in a home run by 3 people, including the guy that got killed. And then what they did was they set up a distraction by hitting the place where all the Hamas people were hanging out. Of course, with what they call civilians. They doubled the number of casualties, civilians and otherwise, Hamas did. Of course, the Times believed it, just like they believed that Israel bombed the hospital, and it really was a Hamas rocket that backfired. And second, the civilians had to be killed because they were standing in the way of the people who were holding on to the hostages, or the people who were shooting at the Israelis. The Israelis don't kill civilians without a very good reason. I mean, I wondered if anybody took a look at the civilian casualties on D-Day when we were going through D-Day, just to compare it to how the Israelis conduct themselves. I mean, there's no comparison. On D-Day, we lost 24,000 Allied soldiers. We killed 10,000 German soldiers. 21,000 French civilians died. Nothing like that here. Nothing like that. No percentage like that. Not even approaching. We made no effort to. We couldn't. We couldn't make an effort to. We were going to send notices in advance of D-Day to the French. All our troops would have been killed. I guess that's what they would have wanted. That's what these dumb Ivy League students would have wanted. Thank God they're not going to be fighting a war for us. Do we have other people who are tougher, stronger, brave, honest, decent, haven't addled their minds with marijuana and what else they take. This mission almost got destroyed by a big gunfight that took place in the street. Did you show him that gunfight, Ted?
I did.
Yeah, I mean, wow.
Mayor, I don't know if you're aware, the house that the men were in, the person who was actually holding them was an Al Jazeera journalist.
Yeah, and also
Yeah.
a spokesman for Hamas.
Yeah, but it's so crazy, you know.
But at first they tried to make him a civilian.
Right.
They had a whole big sad article about how he was killed.
Oh,
until they
sad.
pointed out all the things he said about America.
So sad.
Yeah.
And a journalist for Al Jazeera, you believe
Yeah, but
that?
they still,
Yeah.
I'm sure our people who support the terrorists were very sad, including a lot
Oh,
of Democrats.
they probably had a candlelight vigil for him.
Now, you want a really sad story? One of the young men who was saved is Almagmir John, who's 22 years old. He was one of the 3 men who was saved, and his dad was anxiously awaiting him, Yossi. And when they went to tell Yossi that his son had now been successfully brought to Israel, he was dead in his bed. Wow, you can't make that up, huh? Animals. Civilized people, part of Western civilization, and the outer fringes of not too much civilization. The desert has never been known for its great music and literature, let's put it that way, or its humane values, or exaggerating the importance of human life like Christianity and Judaism does. One left behind is this lovely, lovely young lady. So we're going to show you her picture so you can pray for her with her family. We hope she's still alive. Her name is Roni. Other way around. Roni Gannon. This is her before she was taken by the animals of Hamas and Palestine. Some of them are Palestinian. Some of them are just Hamas pigs. Remember, the distinction between Hamas and Palestinian blurs. 85% of Palestine supported what Hamas did. So does that mean they were involved in it? At the margins, absolutely. Absolutely. Does it mean if you put together a Palestinian state, it would be a terrorist state? 100%. Does it mean they would try to continue to kill and eliminate Jews? Yes, it does. Does it mean they would try to continue to kill and eliminate you and me? Yes. So you say to yourself, what is the benefit? What has ever been the benefit of our putting together a Palestinian state? Who knows? Some ridiculously corrupt tie-in that the Democrat Party has with the Arabs, the wrong Arabs, not with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, according to Biden, the head of Saudi Arabia should be killed, executed. Now he's trying to make a deal with him. So this is Roni Gannon. Her family is waiting for her. She was kidnapped on October 7, and the family says the stunning rescue on Saturday gives them hope. Her sister Yarden says she feels very, very happy and over the top for the families that have gotten their loved ones back, but of course has very complex emotions about her sister. And I guess they don't have much word on how she is, but let's hope. Let's hope they're leaving her in some degree of peace, the animals, and that they'll return her. The men, the ones returned, so we have their names. I think names are so important because Biden never mentions them, and when he does, he gets them wrong, and he has them in the wrong place. He has the dead ones alive, and the alive dead, and the ones that are in hostility in Washington. And what a disgusting piece of crap he is. The young lady that you saw running, who was captured, is Noah Argamani. She is Chinese Israeli. And then the other 3 are Al Magmir, whose father passed away, Yossi, Andrei Kozlov, and Shlomo Ziv. You do know that Arnon Zamora, one of the members of the IDF, lost his life in this mission, only one, and it's very, very reminiscent of Yoni Netanyahu, who was the only person to have lost his life in the successful rescue of the Entebbe hostages in 1976. Immediately, the lying Hamas claimed 274 civilian deaths. There were less than 100 deaths altogether. And Kamala Harris, who definitely is on their side, made it clear to us on a Saturday night speech in the same place that we were, which I thought there was kind of an odor in Michigan, said that we should be spending more time mourning the Gazan deaths. Do you think she knows what she's talking about? I mean, we know what's wrong with Joe. He's demented. What the hell's wrong with her? Do you want to play that, Ted? I mean, that's an extraordinary statement. We should mourn the Gazans? Gaza elected Hamas. Gaza more than the West.
Innocent lives that have been lost in Gaza, including those tragically killed today. For the past 8 months, President Biden and I have been working every day.
Put her off. The people killed today were the people holding the hostages, you miserable creep. I mean, what is wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? I don't know. She sounds like she's in the 5th grade.
Is it true?
I don't know. She must have been. This must have been pass fail constantly, and they passed her. Maybe she was doing the same stuff she did with Willie Brown for all these people. Who knows?
Yeah, that's how she got up there, right? We know how she got up the ladder, right?
Well, I don't know if you call that going up the ladder or down the ladder or whatever the hell you call it.
Oh,
But in any event, she couldn't have made it on merit. It's damn certain she couldn't have made it on merit. Russia is a big country. Ukraine is a small country. And we have to mourn the terrorist murderers. And it's a shame that they all got killed today, saving the poor innocent Israelis. It'd be far better if the Israelis had been beheaded and raped. At least that's what I think. This is Pamela Harris. I'm vice president to Joe Biden, and I'll be back very shortly. Delivers on its promise to do good and never forget the sacrifices America's greatest heroes have made for us. Heroes who risked their lives to keep our communities and our country safe. Heroes like United States Marine Corps Captain and pilot John Jeremy Sachs. Captain Sachs sustained fatal injuries when his military aircraft crashed during training, killing him and 5 other service members. He's remembered by loved ones as courageous, brilliant, and devoted to his career, family, and friends. John is survived by his wife, Amber, who gave birth to their second daughter 3 months after his death. Tunnel to Towers paid the mortgage on the family home for Amber and their 2 daughters. The foundation has helped over 1,000 military and first responder families navigate the worst of times by removing the burden of a mortgage payment. Our nation's heroes and their families need your help now more than ever. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. T2T.org. That's T, the number 2T.org. T2T.org. Please donate now. Well, back here I am, Rudy Giuliani. Kamala Harris is walking around. She got lost walking around over there, going to the remedial kindergarten class. So now the 51 prostitutes who used to be intelligence agents rear their ugly heads again saying they would have said the same thing now after it's been revealed that, as it was then, that the hard drive had nothing to do with Russians. It didn't have any earmarks of Russian collusion of any kind. The FBI knew it when it was presented to them, just to sign their names to something they never looked at. They never looked at the hard drive. They never checked it out. They never asked any questions. They just signed their names because their names are worthless and their honor is worthless. And of course, these are the same people who brought us intelligence in America from about 1988, 1990, 92 on. In other words, weapons of mass destruction, Benghazi. The kind of people that lead you to say to a president, the best thing to do is to do the opposite of what the intelligence agents tell you. And you'd probably be right. If we go back over the last 20 years of these bums, that's probably why. Now, could it be that they sell us out? I don't know. But they sure as hell don't have any honor or integrity in having signed a letter saying there were earmarks of Russian collusion in that hard drive that turns out to be 100%, 1,000% verified and accurate. And not only that, they assisted in a fraud against the American people that got him elected under totally false pretenses. An election that never would have taken place. American people, even back then, with little knowledge of it, 15% said they wouldn't have voted for him. Now it's overwhelming. Spies who lie, there they are. That's wonderful. Yeah, and these people still are on all the left-wing networks, spewing their lies and their anti-American hatred. And some of them I'm surprised at. Morell, I always thought, was a man of some honor. He was one of the worst. He helped organize the phony letter. And he knew nobody read it. Just sign it. Just sign it. Maybe I'll be a big shot. Maybe I can be Secretary of State. Wow. What a way to become Secretary of State, huh? To lie, to get it.
Never in a million years. I know one guy that wouldn't.
Yeah. Take the Secretary of State and shove it up here. So outside of the memorial to October 7, which is down in Wall Street, there was a big protest yesterday by the within our lifetime protesters in favor of terrorism. Now, I wonder if we take pictures of these people and put them in our terrorism file. Because it seems to me if you're protesting in favor of terrorism, there's a danger that you're going to sympathize with them and conduct a terrorist act with them. And apparently, this is a problem that we have, isn't it?
Yeah.
We just had how many people arrested? 8 people arrested from Kazakhstan, Takistan. Right now, what are the odds, given the protocol that I remember working on for President Trump? What are the odds these bums would have gotten in under Trump? 0 and none, because he was willing to be called a xenophobe in order to protect America. This sucker let them in. They were in this country for quite some time. They've had plenty of time to do tremendous damage to us. And it's only recently that the FBI started saying, only within the last 8 months, that the FBI started saying there are a disproportionate large number of terrorists in this country, far more than ever before. Now, the creep and criminal who runs the FBI, Ray, doesn't bother to tell you he could have stopped this 2 or 3 years ago. Right?
Right.
The minute they started letting people in without vetting them. Each one of these people who turns out to be connected to ISIS was let in after being vetted. Maybe they were vetted the way the Chinese are vetted, 4 questions. That's a Biden vetting. Now, how many people have gone through this that could be in this category? Anywhere between 8 and 12 million. So we got a massive problem on our hands. These 8 people are caught, and theoretically they're going to be thrown out. We don't know what they were planning, and they're not going to tell us. They crossed into the United States under the regime of the traitor-in-chief in 2023, and they were hanging around without any knowledge until something came to the attention of the FBI, and they were arrested now in Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and New York City. I seriously doubt that they are lone wolves. Well, they're not lone wolves. There are 8 of them. And here's the note from the federal Biden investigation organization. That's the FBI. Over the last few days, ICE agents arrested several non-citizens pursuant to immigration authorities. The actions were carried out in close coordination with the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Forces. That's when they have time from arresting Catholics. The individuals arrested are detained in ICE custody pending removal proceedings. They may be the only people removed this year, by the way. As the FBI and DHS have recently described. Why recently when it started 3.5 years ago? As the FBI and DHS have recently described in public and partner bulletins, the U.S. has been in a heightened threat environment. The FBI and DHS will continue working around the clock with our partners to identify, investigate, and disrupt potential threats to national security. Gee, when did you start doing that? About 6 weeks ago? How do they all get in here? How come I knew they were coming in and you didn't do anything about it? Why have I been saying this for 3.5 years only to find myself tortured by you guys? Maybe you want to come back and apologize for wasting time on me when you could have been working on them or wasting time on Trump. How much have you spent investigating Trump that could have been spent on these people, or Bannon, or Navarro, or the Catholics who go to Latin Mass, or the people who protest abortion and don't hurt anybody, or the January 6 people who were in the Capitol for 3 minutes, or the old lady who's 70-something years old and can't harm anybody anymore. You're put in jail for 4 years. I mean, you spent more money on that investigation than any in American history. You think maybe this poses more of a danger to the United States than those old ladies and the people who went to the Capitol that day in the insurrection you can't prove that they were going to do without guns? You think maybe you've warped the law enforcement of this country so badly that it's now thoroughly corrupt? Well, maybe not thoroughly.
I just learned I used to work with the reporter who broke this ISIS story. I am texting her. We're going to try to get her on if we can.
Who does she work for?
New York Post. But I worked with her at the Daily Caller.
Did the Post break
New
it?
York Post broke it, yep.
Probably they're going to cover it up.
My
guess is this gets covered up until after the election.
Yeah, so I'm hoping Jenny will get back to us.
So, by the way, there are no facts. All you got basic facts. They came in illegally, vetted, which means the vetting is another proof the vetting is like useless.
Yeah.
We don't even know when they came in 23, Southern Border 2023. They were arrested. We don't know why. And they're going to be thrown out, but we don't know why. I guess we do assume they're on the terrorist watch list, which is the reason they can be thrown out so summarily. Now, if they're on the terrorist watch list and we didn't pick it up at the vetting, then we're not vetting. That's about as easy to do as to figure out that you have a pending ticket in New York.
Wow.
You know, I mean, I have known for some time that a lot of these people aren't vetted at all. They don't want to be bothered vetting them. When you lose morale in an organization like this, and this organization has lost morale back when Biden accused them of whipping people and it was untrue and never apologized, and Mayorkas and
Wow. What?
Nancy Pelosi regrets never having asked for this national. Don't I recall these people saying that that Trump never offered them the National Guard? There were about 10,000 witnesses that proved that Trump did. Yeah. Well, I know he did. Yeah. Here's me. Never interviewed me about it. Because you don't want to know. This January 6th doesn't it look more and more like just part of a piece with Russian collusion, Ukraine quid pro quo lie, the whole setup with the covering up the hard drive, the stolen election, January 6th. The 4 criminal prosecutions, none of which adds up to a crime, all in the same year when nobody's ever prosecuted 4 times in the same year. And it just happens to be an election year, and we've never had a president prosecute his opponent. It's not like it's all part of one thing, which is stop Trump by any means, preferably illegal. I fear we haven't seen the worst, because I started predicting after the second one there'd be several more. I didn't predict exactly what they would be, but they get worse and worse. And they've done just about everything. Too much at stake for them to allow him to be president. They're too crooked, it goes too deep, and it involves too many of them. And it'll ruin a lot of wealth, it'll ruin a lot of power, it'll ruin a lot of lives. All of which have done a good job of ruining your country. And maybe it'll straighten our country out. So Nancy regrets not having asked for the National Guard, like hell she does. I mean, she brought her daughter in with a Hollywood producer to film the whole damn thing. She knew exactly what they were doing. You just watch that James Sullivan film again and tell me he didn't know the ending. The ending is the murder of Ashley Babbitt, huh? That he wasn't, that the whole, and then explain to me how the police, who were guarding her door quite effectively, allow the Antifa people, which is who they are, to break in when they could have stopped them in a second. They had cops. They had cops about 10, 20 feet away in armored gear, looking something like the FBI Gestapo that go arrest Catholics. And this little girl goes up on the top, and the guy shoots her.
What does that mean?
What it means is a murder in the first degree.
Yeah.
The defense for a cop to shooting somebody is in being in realistic fear of life. He wasn't in realistic fear of anything. He was hiding behind something. He got about 20 cops around. The girl had no gun. She had not engaged in violence, and she was 5'2". If this happened on a street in New York with a black woman and a white cop, wow.
Supposed to use non-lethal force first.
What?
Supposed to use non-lethal force first on an unarmed person.
Well, not only didn't they use non-lethal, they invited her in. They gave up the door. The cops were standing at the door. 2 guys talked to them, and they stood down and let them take the door, which would have said to her, it's okay to go in. The cops say it's okay to go in, so they're knocking the door down. I'm just jumping over.
Does it suggest that cop was just told he should shoot somebody? Problem is, he shot a 5-foot girl instead of shooting him. He didn't have the common sense.
I don't know that we're going to know exactly that until we get to the bottom of it, but I do believe it was a deliberate shooting.
Yeah.
And I think I know why, but I'm not going to give it until I have it really, really solid. I think I know the actual motive. I think I knew it that night. I think I knew that. First of all, I knew that night it was a first-degree murder. And I turned it over within 3 days to the U.S. attorney, who should really, instead of all those J6 people in jail, he should actually be in jail.
Mayor,
And several of those judges in the district should be in jail.
if I'm in that situation, Mayor, like an unarmed woman with the weapons coming after me and it's gonna charge me, it's always taser first.
There's no
Taser
shooting
first.
her.
No lethal force.
Ted, what did we show Nancy?
We should take a break first, real quick, Mayor.
Well, let's take a break and line up our
Yeah, we got Nancy ready.
proof.
We're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Yeah.
This is Rudy Giuliani back again with America's Mayor Live. I normally don't put on videos or films or pictures of Nancy Pelosi because I'm kind of sensitive to people with weak stomachs. I remember in 2010 when I ran, where I campaigned a lot for Republican candidates and we won back the Senate, the way we did it was telling people, please vote for the Republican candidate so we don't have to watch her on television every Sunday because she's scaring the children. Since then, there's nothing left of that Nancy Pelosi. This is a human being, and this is a credit to her. This is a human being that is operating with no original body parts on her face. So I want you to watch how the face moves without a single original body part.
We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient
No,
resources.
there's not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more. We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient
No,
resources.
there's not a question of how they had been. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them.
This was a period of time in which Nancy had a lot of the surgery done because she could wear a mask and it would hold the pieces together for a while. So they would mold together. And the real question is, when you say not original body parts, do all the parts come from her body? That one doesn't know that. I mean, she has a close relationship with the Chinese through Dianne Feinstein, who had a Chinese spy driver for 19 years while she was on the Intelligence Committee. But we don't think about that. So who knows what he got her from China? One never knows. But in any event, did you hear any of that during the January 6th hearing? Did you hear any of her accountability for not having the National Guard there? She was kind of left out by all those miserable, lying crooks, one of whom wants to be a senator now from California, all of whom are still behind all the crap that's going on against Trump and Bannon and me, and the left-wing press is still counting on them as telling the truth. I mean, these guys get caught lying 10, 12 times, starting with Russian collusion, and they just lie over and over again. This is a setup. That's why she doesn't want to release her files. The January 6th is a setup. It's part of the same thing to destroy Trump. I kind of knew it that night when I saw the Sullivan film and had one person with me who had done a pretty good job of scouting out Antifa and bringing me the numbers. I think it was about 240 something Antifa people there. And by the way, I can say this very confidently, since all these lying bum Democrats sued me, and a federal judge dismissed the case against me for there being no proof that I had anything to do with it, because I didn't. I had nothing to do with it. First time I had anything to do with it was after it was over, and I looked at the film, and I said, man, this is a setup. What a setup. And when I saw those cops give up the door to Nancy Pelosi's chamber. I said they're setting these people up to go into her chamber. And maybe they were setting up the shooting too, so they could make it into a big, big thing. Then remember they pretended that the cop was killed, who turned out to have died of natural causes. They even went so far as to give him a state funeral when he died of natural causes.
Wag the dog.
Wag the dog, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the liars. Well, I'll tell you what's happening over in Europe. They're going right big time. And the press is going nuts big time. They are going nuts. So
Yeah. So what's going on in Germany?
well, Germany is maybe the strongest of all. Germany is going crazy over immigration, mass immigration, that's destroying the German nation. I mean, this is all part of the Marxist plot to destroy all these nations. People forget what the Cultural Revolution was all about in Red China. And the AfD party, which is known by the lefties as a bombastic national populist party that emerged in 2013, they got the second most votes and the most enthusiasm ever. And then the other nationalist parties together got massive votes. And the two things that are driving it are mass migration, which means illegal Biden-style open borders, no country left when you have open borders, and left-wing economics, which means steal your money, take your money away. Find every excuse to take your money away and give it to people who don't work, don't do anything, are dependent, and therefore will definitely vote for you. So Germany has risen up against it and elected mostly right-wing local leaders and members of the EU. France, it was so bad that Macron has now had to call an election, which will happen before, I think, July. And maybe he'll be out. The party of Marine Le Pen got 2 times the number of votes that his party got. And by the way, he didn't appear today because his wife beat the shit out of him today. Did you see her with Biden and the first stepmother? Man, she looks like one tough cookie. She's about 90 years older than him, and there's no doubt she must kick him around. She looks a lot tougher than him, and I think he took a real beating over this. Kind of feel sorry for him. He's not a bad little jackass, you know. But Le Pen and her protege, Jordan Bardella. Wonder what he's doing with an Italian name like that, Bardella in France. Looks like they're on their way to. Macron's defeat was so complete, he called for new elections 3 years ahead of schedule. In Belgium, the Prime Minister, Alexander De Croo, who is, hanging off the left edge of the left pool, working on whether he's a Maoist or a Stalinist. He got thrown out. He got thrown out of government, and then in a dozen other countries, the right wing won, and in Italy, the right wing added to its already big lead. So maybe it's saying something about the U.S. Huh? Brexit certainly foretold Trump's victory. And the guy who's doing, our friend Nigel, although he probably doesn't have the votes to win because he's splitting up the Tory party, probably is going to do a great favor by destroying the Tory party and requiring it to reconstitute itself, which should be done to the party of slavery. They need a Nigel Farage who can split them in half, destroy them, start anew without that whole history of slavery and Jim Crow and corruption. I mean, if you're telling the history of the Democrat Party, if you're not talking about slavery, you're talking about corruption in the big cities. The Social Democratic Party of Olaf Scholz was rejected, as were the Green and Liberal. They're getting rid of all the Greenies too. Basically, the Greenies are now in Europe. The Greenies are getting close to saying the best way to reduce climate change is to get rid of people. because they let off too much CO2. I mean, I'm going to point him at the first stepmother who flew that plane back and forth a couple of times for no reason but to help her poor ass of a stepson. Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's Socialist Party was beaten into second place by the Conservative Party. The only incumbent leader not to see her party beaten was Giorgia Meloni, who is the right-wing leader of Italy. So I don't know. Maybe you see something going on. The big losers were the Green parties, which lost 21 of their 73 seats in the EU Parliament, which is where they exercise a lot of their dictatorial power, irrational dictatorial power, and create starvation, want, inability to address real diseases by this insanity of a religion that they've created. And hopefully this is going to be the end of them. And they also, as I said, the story in the UK, which of course separated now from the EU and quite happy about it, is that the guy who got them separated, Nigel Farage, seems to be the single most popular person in the UK. Although because of the split in the party, it's like the Republican Party splitting in half. He can't win. So what you can do is destroy the party. And the Conservative Party there should be destroyed because it's a woke. It's like majority rhino. It's probably majority rhino. And all the money is rhino. And it's got to get its ass kicked. And then they have to reestablish a right-wing populist party, pretty much on the model of the U.S., just like their movement, the Brexit movement, was a bit of a model for Donald Trump in 2016. I know that's when I first met Nigel. So let's see. So, Biden stepped in. We put up spies who lied again?
No, that was different.
Oh, good. I just took a good look at them. I mean, they really are a bunch of creepy traitors. There they are. I just like to think of all the mistakes they made on intelligence in the years before, and I wonder how much of that came about through political calculation and also selling out to China.
Can you imagine selling out your country for what? Some sort of promised position in the Biden administration?
Can we check in, because we're so concerned, can we check in on the condition of the commander-in-chief, which he's back now. Is he back from Europe?
I believe he's back.
Well, he's back physically. Is he back mentally?
Found him. He was celebrating
Did he have a
this new federal holiday here. Let's check in.
We had a new federal holiday today?
No. So Mayor, what that was is a 9-day early celebration.
Happy Valley Nursing Home?
It looks like the light's on, but no one's home, Mayor, with Joe Biden. But what that celebration is Juneteenth, but 9 days early, because Juneteenth is on June 19th.
Isn't Juneteenth when they came in and told the people in Texas that they...
Right. It was the last.
Slaves were free?
Right. Texas was the last state to free slaves. Yeah.
Yes. He doesn't know that.
No, he has no idea. No.
Can we look at him again? Like from the beginning? I didn't see the beginning of that.
He looks like he's in cryogenic suspension.
but you. I don't wanna love nobody 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 but you. Say what is it to? He says today.
So Mayor, the guy next to him is George Floyd's brother.
Oh my God. What a virtue.
He invited him to the White House, a felon's brother.
Does he have a record?
I'm not. I cannot speak about that. Yeah, but
You notice whenever he gets in trouble, he
it's
puts his hand up to his mouth.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever he gets in trouble, he brings the hand up to his mouth. Or watch this at the end. You see.
We're putting a train on.
Not sure what George Floyd has to do with Juneteenth because George Floyd wasn't a slave, but not sure what he's doing with that.
Joe doesn't know, so how would he know?
Right.
He would know.
I don't know who invited
He
him.
knows more about Juneteenth than Dodo.
Yeah, probably. I guess so, but okay.
He's standing there. I mean, I think George Floyd's brother realizes how stupid he looks, and he's trying to distract. Oh, notice that goes up. He's always, whenever he's like gone, it almost looks like the brother puts the hand down.
Yeah.
Does he know what he's smiling at?
No.
He has no clue.
So who's actually, even with his dementia, who's actually dumber, him or that lady to his right that's dancing around and doesn't seem to know where she is either?
Come on, she has to get down. Show everybody that she's.
No, look at her. You think she's dumber?
No, I mean,
Look, this is the type of situation where
If they took an
everyone's
IQ
just-
test, who would come out of it?
and you know how when you certain times you
I know she can move, but I mean, if they took an IQ test, who would win, her or him?
And what about that whole situation going on all the way?
he can't like I mean he can't that's a good question. He can't take a test right now. First of all, he couldn't move his hand with the pencil, right?
Yeah. Maybe he can't read anymore. Who knows? But he's having trouble with. He's having trouble.
Grantham Joe has a lot in common with the. I guess it's a transvestite or whatever that's.
No. He grew up in the black church. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
And in the Puerto Rican with the Hispanic. He grew up. He grew up with the blacks, with the Hispanics, a couple of other groups too.
also be fair, Mayor, Joe Biden has dementia. Kamala, whatever her name is, doesn't. So we really can't compare the both
Not
of them.
fair.
It's not fair, yeah. It's kind of.
But she got something. We just don't know what it is.
Not smart, but he has dementia, so we can't really.
Yeah, but she got something. It's more than just not being smart.
Yeah. So we
Look
really
at it. Look at it with that thing about we should
It's sad.
we should mourn for Hamas.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Now, just so that we show that this isn't isolated, he does this on both sides of the Atlantic. Look at how he embarrassed us, among other things that he did in Europe.
Oh yeah.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
So
Can you put the sound on while he's doing that?
yeah.
Just put the sound on.
Yeah.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
Distinguished guests,
Lloyd Austin.
and he's looking for a seat.
yeah, thinking it's time to
He thinks there's a seat there, and then actually 15 seconds later they put a seat there. So he thinks there's already a seat.
If it wasn't for the first stepmother, he might have just sat
He would have
down.
just sat down and fell down. And then
She doesn't let's play it again.
no, she's whispering.
She does not help him.
She-
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
No, she put her hand up and said,
And then
Yeah.
they went off him too.
Yeah.
Somebody must have said, cut.
Oh,
Hey.
cut before he sits in the imaginary.
Yeah. Take the camera off the nitwit.
So I did see the full clip,
Take the camera off the nitwit.
and 15 to 20 seconds later, they did bring a chair.
Yeah.
After that, and
Did
then
he-
he did sit.
Was he able to sit?
Yes.
But meanwhile, he did walk up onto that stage, right? He didn't see a chair. He saw a chair. I don't know.
Just assume there'd be a chair there for him, I guess.
That's a hell of an assumption to make.
Yeah. Well, he is the president of the United States, so he probably assumed, to be fair, that there'd be a chair there for him.
Yeah.
We're being fair to Joe now. Okay.
Not being fair. No.
No, I get it.
He just assumed.
Well,
there'd
you're
be a
fair to
chair.
us, so it's good that
yeah, he'd be a chair. You know.
Even come from when he's
You know,
goes down the stairs.
when the mayor goes places, there's always a chair for him. So I'm just saying.
we make sure of it.
Was he over in? Was he over there when he got Iraq and Ukraine confused? Was he over there when he got Iraq and Ukraine confused?
He was either over there or just
He
coming.
was over there too when he said he knew Putin for 40 years.
Yeah,
When Putin was in the KGB, he knew him. Secret agent.
Shady.
Yeah.
Who's the real Russian spy?
Maybe he was an asset
Maybe, perhaps.
Oh,
for the Russians.
He knew.
I mean, it has all the earmarks of Russian disinformation.
A lot of people tell me he was a communist. I don't believe he's smart enough.
He knew Putin when no one in Russia even knew Putin. That's when Biden knew Putin.
Yeah?
That's right. Yeah,
That has all the earmarks of Russian disinformation.
that's right.
Crack a leader's.
I say that in jest, though, so they can't use that against me.
No.
I think the fact that he wants more money for Iraq is really interesting. Since there's nothing going on, he wants more money in Iraq so Iraq can drive out Russia.
Didn't we just give?
Are there Russian? Would that cost a lot? There are a lot of Russian. That would cost a lot less than Ukraine.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just pass that and take the money away from Ukraine and figure out how much Iraq needs to get rid of the 4 Russians.
Who was Russia with during the Iraq-Iran war?
It was
Iraq.
They were
kind of neutral.
Yeah.
Okay.
Afghanistan.
Maybe Biden was having. Maybe once in a while he has these moments where he collapses back into like a different period of his life.
Wait.
Oh, I definitely.
Speaking of giving countries cash, Mayor. Today we just decided to give Palestine $404 million, and they still didn't give us our hostages back.
That's what.
That's insane.
Very
Not another dime.
Very confused. What's up with that one?
Well, Joe's going to get our hostages back.
Oh, is he? Is he?
Oh, yeah. He can start working on it after the election.
Oh. And they rejected our ceasefire, but we still gave them $404 million.
You think he knows if they rejected the ceasefire?
No.
You think he knows there was a ceasefire? He did. He did.
I don't think he knows there's a war.
He did announce there was a ceasefire. Well,
That was on the teleprompter.
Well, he did think the war was in Iraq the other day.
Huh.
He thought Iraq was fighting Russia.
Does this look like a?
He might have been watching Rambo 3, Afghanistan and Russia, maybe, perhaps. But yeah, I don't know. Something's wrong with that guy.
We're getting a little closer to the debate, you know.
We are.
Oh,
The 27th?
that's gonna be good.
Oh, that is go. They're gonna find a way.
They're gonna find a way to shut that down. I bet.
Or they're gonna look if they think they can get.
Medicines?
Yeah, if they can do what they did for him in the State of the Union, if they can get him there, then they'll make this happen. All they have to do.
That's a third.
Look, it appears to be fixed. They're sitting down.
I think they put him in a chamber, like a chamber or something. Like, you know what they do with Frank? Remember Frankenstein? It wasn't Frankenstein. Dracula.
He's a whole second person.
Dracula would come back in the morning after he got all the blood at night,
Yeah, like
and then he'd lay in the coffin and be dead, and he'd get all white during the day,
well, they have hyperbaric chambers.
and then he went out and got his blood at night to keep himself going.
He's probably going into a hyperbaric chamber where they put medical grade oxygen in when he sleeps at night.
Yeah,
They'll give him some of Hunter's cocaine.
yeah.
Maybe that's what he was doing in the White House in the first place.
Maybe he'll have some energy for a couple hours.
Oh, come on, that was a hard one to figure out who the chief suspect of that was.
No. Hunter.
Yeah, you have in the White House
June 27th.
one of the biggest
it's,
degenerate users of cocaine in the history of America, and you have cocaine in the White House. Yeah,
What is that? Who's is that? It's Russia's.
Joe liked to indulge a little too.
You think Joe did?
I think so.
Maybe back in the day.
Imagine if Joe took cocaine with the few brains he has.
I know who put the cocaine there. It was Trump.
Yeah, Trump.
That was.
Yeah, Trump is big on drinking and cocaine.
Yeah, and the mayor too. He put it there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm really. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, him and Trump snuck in the White House. That's what it
It's
was.
been sitting there for months.
And Putin.
Yeah.
It was all there.
Biden claims that he's never used alcohol or drugs, and if that's the case, he becomes the first argument for using drugs.
Is that true? Really?
He's like the first argument I've ever seen that maybe you're better off if you use drugs, because you can't be any stupider than that.
He said he never drank in his life.
I don't know if he said never. I think maybe.
Stop. Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
That guy has had to drink. He's Irish, isn't he?
Oh man, that's really pretty
What?
prejudiced.
Whatever. Sue me. Cancel me. Go ahead. Do what you got to do.
You can't
Can't
cancel
me. You can't cancel me. All right.
All right.
I don't care. All right. Anyway.
Sure.
No, but you know what happens when there are now. I have some Irish friends that won't touch liquor
All right. Well, good for them.
because of problems in their family.
Yeah, destroyed the family.
Oh yeah. They become. It's like the only way if you have a problem. What do they call that? You're dependent. You have a dependency issue. You really got to stay away from it. That's why I always thought that sex therapy was ridiculous. I mean, how do you deal with drug addiction? No drugs. How do you deal with alcohol addiction? No alcohol. How do you deal with gambling addiction? No gambling. How do you deal with sex addiction? No sex.
Nah, that's no good.
Whoa, is that what they say?
I don't know. I'm
the
just
only way.
raising a question.
That's the only way.
If the traditional alcohol, to take the other addictions,
Yeah.
the traditional, like a guy who's an alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
No more.
It's always been, I'll never take another drink.
Right.
Okay.
Now, occasionally they'll fall back, but if they can get right back.
Cold
Okay.
turkey is better than weaning off of it.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay.
What I said was once they are cured,
Yeah.
theoretically,
Yeah.
then the only way to remain is never take another drink.
Oh, I get what you're
Or
saying.
never take another
Yeah.
drug,
Yeah.
or never gamble again, or whatever the hell the addiction is. That's a little overdone because you can fall back, and as long as it doesn't go too far, you can break it.
Consider it as
But I'm saying I once knew somebody that was going through sex therapy, and I said, "What's the no sex for the rest of your life? I mean, no sex. That's it."
What did he say?
What was that?
He said, "No, it's not. It's a little more complicated than that." Well, how complicated?
Like-
I want to know.
Sex therapy.
Sex with only one woman?
I'm not going to tell you who it was.
For who? No, I'm saying who. What? When is it appropriate? When does somebody go to sex therapy?
I feel like
Are you having too much sex? Is when you
a person
when you're not having it.
like a cheater, a serial cheater.
Who was the sex therapy? Generally speaking, I'm not asking you to out your friend.
Going with other people.
What name a circumstance when somebody would be
This was
recommended?
somebody who went to prostitutes.
Yeah, that's hookers.
Okay,
hookers,
so
yeah.
someone
And maybe the addiction was not so much sex as prostitutes.
Yeah.
Now that I think,
Ah,
Yeah.
the concept.
yeah. So maybe the answer there is you just don't go to prostitutes.
Well, I think the law.
You save
The
some.
law tells
Among other things,
that as well, right?
you save money, and the chance of getting sexually transmitted diseases. That's not bad, right?
Or legal problems.
Yeah. They ruin a family too, right? And for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Herpes, the whole thing, right?
But it's interesting
No
how
one gets AIDS anymore, bro.
Weird. What the hell is that?
They have medicine for that.
Reagan cured it.
Crazy.
No.
what.
AIDS. I know, bro. People live with HIV till they're 100 now.
Well, now I think they have medicine now where you can
Yes,
basically.
It's called PrEP.
No phony vaccine like the other one.
Right.
Yeah, no, Fauci. I don't want to get into that.
Fauci, and I never looked it up. Fauci had a big controversy over AIDS too.
You did.
And I don't remember what it was. Was he stealing there too?
Yeah, we'll have to. Let's dig into that.
We should you should do a America's Made Confidential on Fauci.
On the rat, on the big rat,
Should,
the little
really
rat?
should.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't give too much. You should do one. Like you
Yeah.
should really do all his history about how he's a
Yeah,
killer.
but we got to go back and see what he did.
We
With
should 100% do that. That would be a good one.
I remember a couple of times, a few times I saw him in the White House. He was like right outside the White House mess, eating out of the garbage like a rat,
North Dakota's.
He's a disgrace to Brooklyn.
Doesn't he look like a rat?
Oh yeah, he's a disgrace.
He looks like,
Literally looks like
And they wanted to put a statue of him in Bensonhurst.
that would really,
What are you out of your mind?
that would really scare the kid.
I would rip that down.
No, you'd have to be against that on aesthetic grounds.
Nah, that would get ripped.
You'd have to be against that on aesthetic grounds. You couldn't put a statue of a rat in a park. It'd draw too many rats.
Yeah, Italians don't like rats, human and animal.
Italians have to disown them. Can we?
I disown him.
I forgot he's Italian.
Yeah.
Can we excommunicate him?
First of all, he's probably the type of Italian who eats at Olive Garden too. So he probably likes that stuff.
Well, he probably goes.
He likes jarred
He
sauce. and stuff.
probably goes to
Yeah.
very expensive restaurants.
No,
Other people pay.
It's Domino's.
That's what he does. No, he's going to the. He's
Even
going
now,
to
even now that he's a
Cipriani.
billionaire. He probably has other people paying for
an
it.
Italian. He's been converted into some kind of freak show.
Well, we definitely don't own him.
It's kind of waspy to me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I won't say what he.
I think he's a wasp.
He's a self-hating Italian.
Yeah, he's a self-loathing guy.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't like him. We're
We're anti-Fauci. People.
we're getting rid of Fauci.
Yeah, if
We're disowning
guy
him.
keep popping up here, you know what I mean? No, I think he's gone for good, and he popped.
He's in the same group as Biden. whatever that group is.
And Cuomo. And Cuomo.
And
All-
Cuomo, those
all
people
of
are all in the same group.
That's anti-American.
Called anti-American crooks.
They really are. So, just a quick update on primary night. We have primaries happening tonight in the great state of Maine, North Dakota, home of our maybe future Vice President Doug Burgum.
Stop.
Out in Nevada, there's some big races, but those polls don't close until 10 p.m. Eastern. And then South Carolina, we've been following closely the race in for the Republican primary in the, I believe it's the 1st congressional district, but let me get that right. 1st congressional district. Nancy Mace was facing a potential challenge. Kevin McCarthy and some others have come in.
Joe Wilson had a challenge. He won at 3-1.
Nancy Mace is also going to win. And yes, Joe Wilson, a friend of ours,
But he's been around
great
forever.
guy, and he's a really, at least
Around
one,
forever. Remember they thought they can get him out when he called
you love
Prince a liar?
which was great.
Yeah.
Remember how aghast everybody was?
Yeah.
How probably I'm sure they called them racist. I bet you I got to look back at that time. I'm sure that was a real racist thing to do, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that was, you can argue about decorum, I'm sure, but they made that all. I remember that they made it all about race because the president's black. That's why he did it. It's like no, it's because he's a damn communist.
It's always about race.
No, they always make it about race or
We're tougher on Biden than we were on Obama. And he's white.
yeah. We didn't want to put.
Because he deserves it.
Yeah.
It's not because it's not about race. The Democrats make it about race.
Remember when we used to criticize De Blasio and he pulled the race card because his wife was black? He's like, you guys only criticize me because my wife's a person of color. We're like,
Oh, it's
So it wasn't even. So now you can. So now you can assign it to somebody else, right? You can take someone and call them a racist because of Hey, in a way, a very hey, that's creative. I will say that was creative.
Well, guys, we're going to be back tomorrow night.
yeah.
We're going to turn our camera around so everybody can get to see you guys tomorrow.
no, we got a camera. We just the tripod was.
All right, well, let's get the tripod working. You're always finding an excuse.
Scott Lebedo's movie premiere tomorrow night.
We're going to be back here.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We'll be back here in time.
Right.
We'll be back. We'll be rushing in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're not missing.
I missed the show for.
right.
No.
Wait, great movie premiere.
Except we've seen it.
Well, we've seen it,
Yeah.
and we ain't missing the show for some party. Sorry,
I've seen the movie twice.
but it's a great movie. We want
It's a
everyone to
great
see it.
movie.
You should see it at least
I look
twice.
forward to it.
If you've seen it twice, though, you're good.
Right.
No, I'd watch it again if I didn't have a show to do.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
Scott,
So it is time to say good night. We've been up like about 2,000 hours in a row. Ted and I. We left San Diego at 11 their time, 2:00 our time. We arrived in New York, and it was an hour and 10 minutes coming in from Kennedy
Jesus.
today.
Jesus Christ.
Really, really slow. Wow. It was really slow.
the commute from the airport was almost as long as the flight. I love that. That actually works for me when I fly from DC to Detroit. It's 1 hour, and then my drive home is about an hour.
Yeah.
So that actually works. But Phoenix to New York overnight, 4 hours, 20 minutes.
You know, I was just going to say, is it kind of safe to say that the VP list so far is not very exciting?
We haven't talked. Can we talk about the VP list before we leave tonight?
Yeah, quickly. I think
It's
it's
exciting.
I think it's
Yeah,
What do you want it to be existing?
Yeah.
I mean, if Flynn was on the list,
Oh my
Oh.
God.
Flynn guy or general. The general. We saw him in Michigan.
Yeah, we saw
He's very, very kind.
or Vivek, I mean, I know everybody hates, but it would be more
Hate
exciting.
Vivek.
No, we don't hate
I
Vivek.
don't think he's too young.
And it's Vivek though. If you're gonna push for him, get his name. Vivek.
Like cake, Vivek like cake. I like Vivek, and that's what I'm going on record as saying.
Okay, Rob is a Vivek guy. I'm
He's not
sticking.
going to be on the list, so that's it.
Well,
I'm sticking with Ben Carson.
unless he's pulling a deep fake. Vivek like cake is Vivek.
Vivek like. What's the point of using the microphone?
We'll talk about this more.
Yeah,
That's it.
We've been up. We've been in too many different states.
Let's sign off, man. Let's sign off.
Great.
It's-
Yeah.
You know, I'm almost the same age. Nancy Mace is winning, and I'm happy about that. I know you got a few little. Let's see, what's this here? South Carolina.
Look.
Are these
Personal.
Mark Burns is beating Sherry Biggs. Is that going to be a runoff though?
Yes,
They have runoffs, I think. Yeah, that'll be a runoff.
Ohio special election. Yeah, we'll do some homework on what some of this means.
Well, this
Tonight
is
was,
a district election?
Yeah, special election for Ohio 6.
But we're holding a seat or we're picking up a seat?
Holding.
Holding there.
Let me
too?
double check.
Strong
Let me
against
double check, yeah.
Miller, against Tammy Miller?
Yeah, let me double check.
Democrats all named Tammy. Like, isn't it Tammy Duckworth?
Oh, remember Tammy? Tammy. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on and check out your X account tonight. We'll post some of the results. And we'll see everybody tomorrow.
We'll see everyone tomorrow, and we want to especially pray for the hostages, huh? The ones that Biden has forgotten completely. He couldn't even tell the difference between one that was in the audience and not. And there are only a few of them. I mean, it's just ridiculous. What a president.
Oh, sick people.
You got to promise me you're going to work so hard. It's elections. I won't be able to take it's being in doubt.
Yeah. All right.
Pray for the people of Israel and for the people of the United States, Ukraine too, and God bless America.
And before we play our closing song, we're gonna play a quick clip from the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. And tomorrow we'll talk about.
We'll talk about the Detroit Symphony tomorrow. Bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776. One of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply